I'm Dr. Loz. I'm a scientist. I do science. It's my favourite thing. So I'm here to share my science with you guys. Does anyone know what science is? Put your hand up if you know what science is. Call out. You've got 5 seconds to tell me what you think science is. Go. Now, no matter what you said, you definitely got it right because science is in everything. It's absolutely everywhere. I'll tell you what I think science is though. It's asking questions. And that's what the job of a scientist is to ask questions every single day, hundreds of questions. You've got to ask so many questions. Your parents say, stop asking questions, you're making me crazy. And you can say, nah, I'm a scientist. It's my job to ask questions. And grown-ups, you can say, I don't know to every single question. That's totally fine. I say I don't know 100 times a day. But make sure when you say, I don't know, you say, I don't know, let's find out. I don't know, let's discover. I don't know, let's explore. I don't know, how can we test that? And go and do some active exploration and investigation. Okay, today, if you're experimenting along with us, let's make sure we've got our safety check. Have you got a lab coat or a jacket or an art smock on to make sure you protect your clothes? Check. Have you got your safety glasses on or something to protect your eyes? If you're following on and doing some experimenting at home at the same time as us, here's our materials checklist that you'll need to get experimenting. All right, here it is, everybody. Today's Supersonic Science Sound. Put your Supersonic Science ears on, touch your ears, and let's listen and see if you can work out what our science sound is for today. Can you guess what it is? We'll be back later to give you the answer. See if you can guess. Oh, that made me really dizzy. Today we are going to talk about some awesome science, talking about things that rotate. We are going to be playing with some really cool science toys. I bet you guys know what these are. Yes! There is so much science in fidget spinners. If your parents say to you, hey, stop playing and start doing some studying, you can say, I am studying. Playing with a fidget spinner is studying science. You are doing physics, high-level physics, when you're playing with those toys. Yeah, science rules. All right, just 1 second for a tiny recap. Do you remember in our energy transfer class, we talked about things that move have kinetic energy and we can pass that energy from one object to another. So right now, my fidget spinner, it's not moving, is it? It's completely still. How do I make it move? Oh, I've got to push it. Okay. I'm going to move my hand, which means my hand has kinetic energy, remember? And when I hit the fidget spinner, now the fidget spinner's got kinetic energy. So it's moving. And what we're going to do is then, while it's moving, we're going to squeeze liquid on it and the energy, the kinetic energy, is going to transfer from the fidget spinner into the liquid and make it move. So we're going to start with me, kinetic energy, making my hand move, to kinetic energy in the fidget spinner, making it move, to kinetic energy in the food coloring, making it move. Got it? All right, cool. Let's start. This is just a little picture version of the methods, the things that we're going to do to conduct our experiment. You can come back to this if you need to remember what you need to do. Okay, so I'm going to use this container today. It doesn't have to be a round container. You can use any container you like. Whatever container you choose though, you need to make sure that you cut a piece of paper that will fit in the bottom. So trace around your container and then chop. You're going to have to chop inside the lines just to make sure that it fits. And then put your piece of paper inside your container. Now we need some colors. I've just got water here. It's about 30 mils and we want to dilute it 1 in 10. So I know that there's 30 mils of water here and that my pipettes are 3 mils. So I know if I fill up a pipette, well that's 2.5 mils, that's pretty good. That's going to be about the right kind of concentration. Going to get our fidget spinner, put it in the middle. Please don't use your favorite fidget spinner, could definitely rust. We pop the top off ours after we've done our experimenting and spray it with WD-40 or similar to make sure that we can use it again the next time. If you don't spray it, it will rust. So just remember that. And the heavier the fidget spinner, the better. This one's really light, but the ones with the holes, the big metal holes, are really, really good. They're heavy. They spin for much longer. So to make it work, what we're going to do is we're going to use some force. I'm going to put one finger in the middle. That's my axis of rotation. It's up and down around the center. And the fidget spinner is going to spin around that axis. Then we're going to transfer it some kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is just the energy of movement. So if you make something move, it has kinetic energy. It doesn't move by itself. I need to transfer my kinetic energy to it by pushing it, and then it's transferring its kinetic energy into the liquid. So each time you add a color, you stop, take your fidget spinner out, get a rag or a cloth of some type, and just dab it up. If you don't, it will get too wet and rip. These are already coated. Put your fidget spinner back in, give it some kinetic energy. Still got more colour. Oops. And that is how you make your kinetic energy art. What you can do is experiment. What happens if you spin it in the opposite direction? What happens if you move it, instead of putting it in the center, you put it in a different location? It's pretty cool. These lines that are coming off, you can see, even though we're spinning it around, the lines we're getting are straight lines, and they're called tangents. So the line that comes off a circle is called a tangent. It's time for today's mystery microscope image. Can you guess what it is? We've looked at something under a microscope and this is what it looks like. I'll give you some time to see if you can work out what you think this is. All right, we'll be back soon and we'll let you know what our mystery microscope image is. So our fidget spinner works by spinning around. It rotates. And things that spin around or rotate are said to have rotational motion. Can you say rotational motion? Yeah, that means they go around and around and around and around. Things that move around have rotational motion. Things that move straight have linear motion. Can you say linear? Yeah, linear. That means a straight line. So things that move straight have linear motion, and things that move around, that rotate, have rotational motion. We're going to talk a bit more about linear motion and rotational motion in a few episodes when we explore with Beyblades. But for now, let's just talk about things that rotate or spin around. Things that spin around. Can you think of any things that spin around? Call one out. Did you think of a merry-go-round or planet Earth? It spins around on its axis. Planet Earth's axis is tilted over. It's actually really cool. Spinning top, like we saw before. Turning a wheel in a car. Steering wheel. And the wheels on the car. Turning a handle. Using a drill. The drill bit spins around an axis. The washing machine, the microwave. There are so many things that have rotational motion. They rotate, they spin around. Stay tuned at the end for a little bit more on friction and inertia and all of those really cool science concepts. It's time to reveal the answer to our secret sound. What did you think it was? Here it is. Now it's time to go next level. This is not a safe thing to do at home. I've commandeered and created a very purpose-fit fan, which is just for Dr. Loz experimenting and not something that you can do at home. Never stick anything into a moving fan. Never ever. Got it? Good. So this is just like the fidget spinner, except the fan, it's moving way faster than the fidget spinner. And the reason the fan is moving so fast is it's plugged into the power source. So it's getting its kinetic energy from electrical energy rather than the kinetic energy from my hand pushing it around. See the cord plugged into the wall? That's where we're getting the electrical energy from. Electrical energy, it's being converted into kinetic energy, which is what's making the fan spin. And then as the paint touches the fan, the paint gets kinetic energy and it sprays out everywhere. Let's have a look. Ta-da! Isn't it cool? It's like a giant version of the fidget spinner. All right, time to work out what our mystery microscope image was. Could you guess? Let's see. This is what it was today. Of course. Did you guess? We'll have another one coming up in the next episode.
Tigers have stripes. So they don't get spotted.
Remember, science is everywhere, it's in everything, and it's so awesome. Yeah, science rules! Woo! Well, inertia, which is something we're going to talk about in a couple of weeks when we do our Beyblade experimenting. But inertia means when something's moving, it wants to keep moving unless a force slows it down and stops it. So it's another force that stops our fidget spinner from spinning. Does anyone know what that force is? It's friction. When it spins around, the parts inside it, they rub on each other, they move, and as that happens, the kinetic energy transfers from the part of the fidget spinner that's moving into the other parts. And it gets transferred as heat, it gets transferred as sound, it gets transferred as a few other different types of energy. Okay, now that it's stopped, let's have a little look inside. Pry it open. Inside a fidget spinner are little tiny balls, they're called ball bearings. And the job of those ball bearings is to keep on rolling, keep on spinning, and to reduce the force of friction. So if you had a normal wheel and it didn't have a ball bearing and you spun it around, it would stop spinning, stop rotating pretty quickly. But fidget spinners have bearings in them, so they have less friction, so they can spin for longer. Has anyone got a really fancy fidget spinner? Those ones spin forever because they've got really good quality ball bearings inside them, and that's what makes them keep on spinning for a really long time. So there's not a lot of friction, and friction is a force that slows things down. There are also a few other things that come into play. How heavy the fidget spinner is, how aerodynamic, all these things contribute to how fast a fidget spinner and how long a fidget spinner spins for. Let's play a tiny little game. See if you can guess which way I've spun the fidget spinner. Clockwise or anti-clockwise? Did you guess clockwise? Woohoo! All right, how about this time? It's actually really tricky to tell, isn't it? It seems like it starts one way and turns the other way in the middle of its spinning. This is actually called the wagon wheel effect, or the stagecoach wheel effect, or even the stroboscopic effect, which is an optical illusion in which something that's spinning, in our case the fidget spinners, the blades appear to rotate in a different direction from the direction it's actually rotating. And it's to do with how the camera captures a video and how fast the frames it captures are. And our brain tries to fill in the blanks. You can actually explore this yourself on one of the PDFs that we've just uploaded for our members on thaumatropes. Check it out, you can make your own. All right, see you next time.